Oh, good. I'm in Qatar, and gas here is $1 a gallon, and so stop complaining. Um, I just wanted to bring up a couple points. I'm on your basic, same viewpoint, I believe. You're not going to find any arguments from me, but it just is very peculiar to me that some of the things that benefit us here, technology, medicine, science, they seem to be the same things that harm us. If you're looking at the preservation of genes in our genetic makeup. Do you follow that?
Yeah, no. Not entirely. And is this just a continuation of the previous point? Or are you coming at it from a different angle?
And technology is just an amplifier. All it does is it increases your abilities. Right? It increases your abilities to do bad things. It increases your ability to do good things. But seeing as people are generally interested in things working out for the best, they mostly focus on the good things.
Okay. I guess what I'm talking about is like 100 years ago, if I couldn't hunt and provide for my family because my eyesight was bad, then I would not be successful. But now we have, we can make glasses, we can do certain things, which puts me right back into the gene pool and amplifies those negative genes, which is bad for everybody.
No. No, my reason that I would disagree with you again is that most of these negative genes and stuff, they don't take action until, after reproductive age, right? For natural selection to be working on them, it's something that'll affect you when you're 70 years old. Something that instantly kills you when you're 70, how would you select against that if, you've already had kids and grandchildren by then? So the passing on the negative effect is really not an issue. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's what I was bringing up before when you talk about prolonging the age of procreation. We're in perfect health at 20 years old when most of us have had kids, at least in modern societies and in primitive societies at 15. Okay, but if we didn't have children until 25 or 30, or possibly even older, okay, then after 80 generations or more, we would see an increase in our longevity on the back end, not just an improvement on our health from 20 to 30. Was there a long silence after everything I say?
I don't know. I presume the caller's got nothing more. Did you want to come back on that? Because I know that we've got another couple of callers waiting. But please feel free to come back.
The long silence is just because you're devastatingly awesome.
I can see that point as well.
Oh, good. We've managed this way.
However, I still think that with our advances in technology and science, that we're living longer. That we just we're kind of we have much more. By virtue of that we're living longer, that we have, I guess maybe it's just that we have more time for these deleterious genes to exhibit themselves in our life. Is it just because we're living longer then? Is that what you're saying?
Well, there's an important point there because somebody else had brought up cellular senescence earlier on, and there was some research on this 15 years ago. I remember when they talked about if you could circumvent the cellular senescence in primate genes, and humans would then be able to extend their lifespans substantially, like twice as long. So you're living 200 years or something like that. You would not. And a lot of people think about this. You may think, if you would live 200 years, then by the time you were 40 years old, or you looked 40 years old, you would actually be 80 years old or something like that. But it doesn't really work that way. It's not that you stay young longer, and it's not that you age slower. You would continue aging, but in a different way. One of the things that happens is that the ears, for example, continue to grow, and the brow continues to grow, and the length of the face continues to grow. And this is what I was talking about life being fluid. If you could live for 200 years, you would have very Frankenstein-type features as you progress in age. And when you were talking about as a species being static, a lot of people think that a species is static. We're not. As a population, there's going to be at least a certain amount of genetic drift, even if there's no other influence like natural selection. There's still going to be genetic drift, and that still needs to be counted and corrected. And then, of course, we have the issues about overpopulation and all of that applies.
On that note, I do want to move on if it's all right, but thank you very much for the call. The reason I do is because I've got two people waiting, and I have promised to get them on, and we're probably overrun by our normal sort of like 20 minutes or so. So we've got two more calls that we're desperately trying to fit in. The first is Jill, and given the fact that a large proportion of the calls have been trolls, I would have thought one of these two's good chance that they're going to be a troll, but
a girl? What?
Gil? Jill? I don't know.
Gil.
Yeah, it's Gil.
Gil.
Hi.
We can hear you very loudly. How can we help you?
Wait, sorry, hold on. 1 second.
Take your time.
No one's waiting.
Whilst Gil's sorting that out, am I right? When modern humans came out of Africa, they were down to about 30,000. Is that the estimate of the population?
Oh, you're talking about the Toba eruption?
Less than that, I thought.
Yeah, I thought it was far less than that.
Yeah, I thought it was
50.
estimated around 10 grand.
So we're pretty lucky to be here, I guess.
Yeah.
Anyway, Gil, back
Praise
to
the
you.
Lord.
Alright, so I've been watching a lot of the God debates with like Christopher Hitchens and William Lane Craig. And how's my volume?
You're fine.
Okay, good. So they always bring up morality and objective morality, and they always say, if there is no God, there can't be any morality.
Sorry.
And then they like push it off onto like Christopher Hitchens and say, you must prove or show how there is an objective morality without God. And I've never really understood how they get away with that, because there have been objective moral systems for thousands of years without gods. Like,
No, I'm sorry, I'll pause you there. There have not. There have been systems in which a legal structure has been set up. That is not the same as objective morality. As to how they get away with it, I absolutely agree with you. I think it's a nonsense. There is no such thing in my view, but that's one of my pet hates. I'm sorry to interrupt you. Do carry on.
Right. Okay, maybe objective morality is not as an ethical system. How about that?
Yeah, well, there are things that society agrees upon, whatever society that is, and they're going to vary somewhat.
Well, I'm not even talking about I'm talking about like you have like Aristotle's ethics back in the 4th century BC, which is a much better conception of morality, I think, than the authoritarian morality of the Christians.
Well, my issue with the morality argument is that if they say if without a God, where would we get an objective morality? And I'm thinking, without a God, where would we get the rules for how you can own slaves? Without a God, where would we get the mandate that we're supposed to murder all of our neighbors right down to their livestock and their unborn children? Without a God, where would we get the blood signs on the doors telling the all-knowing God which houses are Jewish and which ones you can murder the babies in?
And also, let's not
That's
forget discrimination against in relation to colour, against women, against homosexuals, against whatever group that doesn't actually join in your worship of your particular flavour of God. I'm with you entirely, Aaron.
So it could be argued that without a God, we might have morality.
Yeah, that's true. But I'm saying that even though it fails even before then, even though the biblical morality is atrocious, the whole hypothesis of an authoritarian morality, they always come back with, well, if God doesn't exist, then who says what's right? And who says is the wrong question completely. Doesn't matter who says something.
But as I said earlier, society determines this, and it's reflected in the laws that are passed.
And those laws, on occasion, are attributed to a god, but they still come from the same source. It's still people making up those rules.